Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Spring Porter with Spring Solutions LLC. In this video, I'm going to be talking about finder's fees. This is going to be basically my thoughts on the matter. This is probably the number one question that I get on my channel is how much can I charge? What can I charge in my state? So if you are interested, please stay tuned. Please note, as I state in all of my videos, that I am not an attorney. This information, more than any information on my channel, is not considered legal advice. If you are unclear what the finder fee rules are in your state, in your district, please seek an attorney. Please know that the contract that I have in my course is a template for you to use. It says so right on there. You need to refer to an attorney to make sure that this is something that you can use in your state, because every state has their own specific rules and regulations. All right. So here's a legal definition for finder fees. This is coming from uslegal.com. Finder's fee is a fee paid to someone who acts as an intermediary for another party in a transaction. Finder fees may be offered in a variety of situations. For example, an employer may pay a finder's fee to a recruitment agency upon hiring a new employee referred by that agency. A finder's fee may be paid regardless of whether a transaction is ultimately consummated. In a real estate context, a finder's fee may be paid for locating property, obtaining mortgage financing, or referring sellers to buyers. And then the very last line, however, state laws, which vary by state, may also provide an exemption for certain individuals. So the one thing that I wanted to point out by reading this is usually it's a middle party who's handling, this particular transaction. And again, it varies state by state. So this is going to be determined to your state. And another thing that I wanted to point out, most of the states that I researched for finder fees pertain to real estate transactions. So things pertaining to the house. Unclaimed property in bankruptcy is personal property. It's money. It's not dealing with real estate transactions. So you have to see in the code, does it include personal and real estate property together? Are they listed separately? Are they even listed at all? Maybe you don't have clear rules and regulations for finder fees at all. From what I could tell, it's mostly dealing with real estate. There may be some that do mention personal property, but Title 11, the code for the U.S. bankruptcy, it does not list finder fees anywhere. But that doesn't mean that they don't apply, and I'll get to that in a minute. So it doesn't say anywhere in the bankruptcy code that you can only charge this amount. It doesn't mention it at all. It does mention unclaimed funds, unclaimed property, abandoned property. It talks about the filing fees for a bankruptcy case, but nowhere does it mention finder fees. And the individual bankruptcy websites that I have shown you on my channel, I've shown you all the states by now and the U.S. territories on my channel. None of those sites that I went to said anything about finder fees. And I'll give you an example. This is the state of Tennessee, for example. On this finder fees, when I typed in finder fees Tennessee, it pulled up the Treasury Department in Tennessee. And right here in big blue and white, it says a locator must be licensed as a private investigator in Tennessee. And it gives you right here the private investigation and polygraph commission site, because they want you to make sure that you sign up for this if you're going to be working in this state. It also goes on to talk about the fees that you can charge. 10% of the value of property recovered, or 50%, whichever is greater. And then it also says all contracts must be approved by the Tennessee Department of Treasury Unclaimed Property Division. So they're super specific in the state of Tennessee. However, when we go to the U.S. Bankruptcy Court in the Middle District of Tennessee, you don't see that language in here. Doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It just exists only on a state level. And that is what is most important. It exists when you have to go to court. So let's use the example of, let's say you go to a restaurant, it's close to your house, you have 3 glasses of wine. Are you legally drunk and able to drive? You probably shouldn't drive if you're drinking 3 glasses of wine, right? Because if you get pulled over, they're going to say you have a DUI. But let's say you do it anyway, and you drive home and you get home safely. Let's say you do a deal in Tennessee, you do it more for 10%, and you don't become a private investigator, but the deal goes through. Did you break this rule? Yeah, you did. But wasn't an issue? No, because no one brought it up as an issue, and you were actually didn't get sued, and you didn't sue anyone, so it never came up. Now, let's say next week you go back to the same restaurant, same table, same 3 glasses of wine. You get home, you're almost at the light, you're almost home, you get to that red light, and there's blue lights behind you, and you know there's going to be a problem. It's similar to this. Um, this could become a problem if you get sued in state court. And you never know when, a deal could go south for whatever reason. The judge is going to be signing the orders on this. So you want to make sure you think of that scenario when you're going through these particular deals. Just make sure you are aware of what the rules are. You can't go in state court and be like, "Oh, judge, I didn't know I was supposed to be a private investigator." You could probably say that, but it doesn't mean that the law um, it's still there, whether you knew about it or not. You still have to be in compliance with it. So another thing that I wanted to talk about, again, finder fees is state regulated, as I mentioned. So you want to look for personal property real estate. Are they lumped together? Is it super specific? That's something that you're going to have to know, ask a lawyer. You can always check those state agencies. As I mentioned, the one in Tennessee is super specific on what it is that you can charge and what it is that you need to become before you even start doing this in that state. And another thing is maybe you're in a state that doesn't have this specific finder fee language. So if you do have to sue someone, then it's just going to be a simple breach of contract. And I do believe in the video that I posted recently pertaining to my deal with the Virginia client that I thought I was going to have to sue. I don't believe Virginia to be one of those states that has a super specific finder fee rule for our personal property. So I was going to have to sue him in Virginia for $1,100. It would have been for a simple breach of contract. And that would have been in a small claims court, right? And I do believe, because I kept my end of the bargain, my end of the contract, I think that it probably would have went my way, because I did what I was supposed to do. He just didn't pay me. And so the contract was clear on who does what, So at any rate, you want to make sure that you reach out to an attorney if you are not sure, if you are not clear, because that is what's most important. Keep in mind the example that I used for the restaurant and the drinks and driving home. Think about that when you're doing your deal. And another thing, if you are in a state that doesn't have clear regulations on finder fees, you still want to be fair with the percentage that you're charging. Just because you can charge 45% doesn't mean that you should. And it doesn't mean that the client that you're working with is going to be willing to pay you that. You can try the state regulation says that I can charge. They're going to be like, so what? I'll just do it by myself then if you're going to charge that much. So, and then the same thing with Tennessee, because they're giving you 10%, doesn't mean that the client is going to be giving you 10% automatically. Maybe they're only going to be willing to pay you 4.5, like my student, who she tried to get him to pay more, but that's all he wanted to do. Maybe they're only going to be wanting to pay you 5%. So you want to make sure that you are in compliance, know that it is an issue if you get sued, and know that you can always go to an attorney to reach out. I am neither affirming or denying what you should do. I think you should do what's best for you. Um, and that's really all that I can say about that. I hope that you have more information than you did before pertaining to this information. Um, and that's really it. I will see you in the next video. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.